France's political crisis, when the Republic forgets how to govern. France's latest political crisis, a prime minister resigning within hours of forming a government, is more than a passing drama in Paris. It marks the slow unraveling of a system that once balanced power and stability but now generates only paralysis. What is collapsing is not a coalition, but trust in the very machinery of the Republic. A system consumed by its own design. The semi-presidential model of the Fifth Republic was built to avoid the instability of earlier regimes. Yet when the political center erodes and no party commands a majority, the same structure becomes a trap. The president holds vast authority, but without parliamentary backing he governs by decree and survives by improvisation. The result is rule without legitimacy and opposition without responsibility. President Emmanuel Macron's decision to dissolve parliament earlier this year was meant to restore control. Instead, it produced a suspended democracy, a hung parliament, a revolving door of prime ministers, and a presidency isolated from society. The Republic, once envied for its efficiency, now resembles a technocratic monarchy without believers. Fragmented politics, fractured society. For decades, French politics revolved around two mainstream blocs, moderate left and right, that ensured alternation without rupture. That world has vanished. Deindustrialization, globalization, and social insecurity have shattered the traditional electorate. The working class has turned to Marine Le Pen's nationalist right, the young and precarious flock to the radical left, the educated elite clings to Macron's centrism. France now operates under a triangle of vetoes, where each camp can block but none can govern. This fragmentation mirrors a deeper social divide between metropolitan France and the provincial hinterland. The Yellow Vest revolt was not an outburst but a warning that a large part of the country no longer recognizes itself in the institutions that claim to represent it. The fiscal social trap. Behind the political theater lies a structural contradiction. France spends more than 55% of its GDP through the state, yet demands both lower taxes and generous welfare. Each attempt at reform pensions, energy, labor meets fierce street opposition. The government fears the markets, the people fear austerity. This fiscal social paradox makes policy almost impossible. To satisfy one side is to enrage the other. Markets have begun to notice. French bond spreads are widening, not from panic but from doubt, the most corrosive form of judgment in finance. A crisis of faith, not just of government. The Fifth Republic's stability once rested on a moral bargain. Citizens accepted centralized power because it delivered results. That bargain is broken. Public services decay, bureaucracy expands, and reform has become synonymous with arrogance. Each new prime minister is received as a disposable mediator between the technocratic state and an alienated people. This is no longer a mere political crisis, it is a crisis of belief. When citizens cease to trust that the state serves them, elections turn ritualistic and protest becomes routine. The Republic survives in form but empties in spirit. The European reverberation. France's instability carries implications far beyond its borders. The Eurozone assumes Paris will remain predictable. If that assumption falters, so does the credibility of European fiscal discipline. A politically paralyzed France cannot lead Europe, and a leaderless Europe cannot confront its strategic or economic challenges. The choice ahead. Three paths lie before France, and none are reassuring. A fragile coalition could buy time but entrench paralysis. A snap election might deliver clarity or hand power to the far right. A technocratic caretaker government could keep the bureaucracy running while democracy idles. Each option postpones the central question: can France still rebuild a shared sense of political purpose? A republic at risk of spiritual bankruptcy. France's crisis is not the failure of one president or one party. It is the exhaustion of a model that confused managerial competence with democratic vitality. The Republic's institutions still function, but increasingly without conviction, without trust, and without meaning. If France cannot recover the moral energy to govern, to persuade, not merely to administer, it may continue to exist legally while ceasing to inspire. For a nation that once saw politics as a form of faith, that would be the deepest loss of all.